Alright, reading 20 minutes to practice my English. Alright, let's go. Hey, buddy. Okay, I don't even remember where. Oh, let me see. Uh, where was I? Wait. Harris or mouth, said Ron. You can talk to snakes. I know, said Harry. I mean, that's only the second time I've ever done it. I accidentally said about. Wait, what happened at this page? So, said Harry, I bet lots of people here can do it. Oh, no, they can't, said Ron. It's not a very common gift. Harry, this is bad. What's bad? Said Harry, starting to feel quite angry. What's wrong with everyone? Listen, if I hadn't told that snake not to attack Justin. Oh, that's why you said to it? What do you mean? You were there. You heard me. I hear you speaking personal tongue. Oh, I the wrong snake language. You could have been saying anything. No wonder Justin panicked. You sounded like you were egging the snake on or something. It was creepy, you know? Harry gaped at him. I spoke a different language, but I didn't realize. How can I speak language without knowing I can speak it? Ron shook his head. Both he and Hermione were looking as though someone had died. Harry couldn't see what was so terrible. Do you want to tell me what's wrong with stopping a massive snake biting of Justin's head? He said. What does it matter how I did it as long as Justin doesn't have to join the headless tongues? Alright. It matters, said Hermione, speaking at last in a hushed voice. Because being able to talk to Snake was that Slytherin was famous for. That's why the symbol of Slytherin house is serpent. Harry's mouth fell open. Alright? Exactly, said Ron. And now the whole school's going to think you're his great-great-great-great-grandson or something. But I'm not, said Harry, with a panic he couldn't quite explain. You'll find that hard to prove, said Hermione. He lived about 1,000 years ago. For all we know, you could be. Had lay awake for hours that night. Through a gap in the curtains around his four-poster, he watched snow starting to drift past the tower window and wondered, could it be a descent? Ow! Ow! I forgot. Wait, what? Descendant. Descendant of Slytherin. He didn't know anything about his father's family, after all. The Dursleys had always forbidden questions about his wizarding relatives. Quietly, Harry tried to say something in personal tone. Okay, I think I need to know how to pronounce this. Whoa. Pronunciation, buddy. Personal tone. Or I don't know why this video takes so long to teach that shit, man. Personal tone. Say wrong. Snake language. You could have been saying anything. Wait, why? This is the last page. What the hell? What? No. Where? Where? Oh, here. Harry tried to say something in Persian tone. The words wouldn't come. It seems he had to be face to face with the snake to do it. But I'm in Gryffindor, Harry thought. The Sorting Hat wouldn't have put me in here if I had Slytherin blood. Says nasty little voice in his brain. But the Sorting Hat wanted to put you in Slytherin, don't you remember? Harry turned over. He would see Justin the next day in her biology, and he would explain that he would been calling the snake off, not egging it on, which he thought angrily. Pummeling his pillow. Any fool should have realized. But next morning, however, the snow that had begun in the night had turned into a blizzard so thick that the last biology lesson of the term was cancelled. Professor Sprout wanted to fit socks and scarves on the mandrakes, a tricky operation she would entrust to no one else, now that it was so important for the mandrakes to grow quickly and revive Mrs. Norris and Colin Creevy. Harry fretted. Okay, I bet that Harry is the one who opened the fucking Chamber of the Secret. Fretted. Over magical instruments with strings such as a guitar. Having small raised metal bars across the long thin part that show you where to put your finger on the strings or in order to produce different notes. Oh, okay, fretted. I get it. Harry fretted about this next to the fire in the Gryffindor common room. Okay, I don't think this is what it meant. Fretted. Okay. Where Ron and Hermione used their time off to play a game of razor chess. For heaven's sake, Harry, said Hermione. Exasperated. As one of Ron's bishops wrestled her knight off his horse and dragged him off the board. Go and find Justin if it's so important to you. So Harry got up and left through the portrait hall, wondering where Justin might be. The castle was darker than it usually was in daytime because of the thick, swirling grey snow at every window. Shivering, Harry walked past classrooms where lessons were taking place, catching snatches of what was happening within. Professor McGonagall was shouting at someone who, by the sound of it, had turned his friend into a badger. Badger, an animal with short legs, wide feet with long claws, and strong jaws that lives on the ground and comes out to feed at night. Okay, even though it explained to me, I still don't know what that was, man. I need to have some. Okay, I get it. I need to have some picture of it. Okay, then where? Oh my god, this a fucking mosquito. Okay, where? Then McGonagall was starting someone who by sounding by an internal individual. Resisting the urge to take a look, Harry walked on by, thinking that Justin might be using his free time to catch up on some work, and deciding to check the library first. A group of the Hufflepuffs who should have been in herbology were indeed sitting at the back of the library, but they didn't seem to be working. Between the long lines of high bookshelves, Harry could see that their heads were close together and they were having what looks like an absorbing conversation. He couldn't see whether Justin was among them. He was walking toward them when something or what they were saying met his ears, and he paused to listen, hidden in the invisibility section. So anyway, a stout boy was saying, I told Justin. Okay, I don't. I need to know what is that mean. What shouted? Oh my god. T-O-U-T. Stout. Stout. Wow, stout. Okay. A stout boy was saying, I told Justin to hide up in our dormitory. I mean to say, if Pratice mark him down as his next victim, especially if he keeps a low profile for a while. Of course, Justin's been watching for something like this to happen ever since he let slip to Potter he was Muggleborn. Justin actually told him he would be down for Acton, I don't know. That's not the kind of thing you Beatty or Bendy. You bandy about with Slytherins here on the loose, is it? You definitely think it is part of it then. Ernie, oh no, said a girl with blonde pigtails anxiously. Hannah, said a stunt boy. Solemnly. He's a pursed mouth. Everyone knows that's the mark of the dark wizard. Have you ever heard of a decent one who could talk to snakes? They called Slytherin himself Serpent Tongue. Tough. Jesus. Bro. Tongue, serpent tongue. There was some heavy murmuring at this, and Ernie went on. Remember what was written on the wall? Enemies over here. Beware. Potter had some sort of run in with Finch. Next thing we know, Finch's cat attacked it. That first year, Quirrell was annoying Potter at a Quidditch match, taking pictures of him while he was lying in the mud. Next thing we know, Quirrell's been attacked. He always seemed so nice though, said Hannah uncertainly, and, well, he's the one who made you know who disappear. He can't be all bad, can he? Ernie lowered his voice mysteriously. The Hufflepuffs bent closer, and Harry edged nearer so that he could catch Henry's words. No one knows how he survived that attack by you-know-who. I mean to say, he was only a baby when it happened. He should have been blasted into Smith... what's that? Why is that? What is that? Smithereens. Only a really powerful dark wizard could have survived a curse like that. He drops his voice until it was very more than a whisper, and said, that's probably why you know who wanted to kill him in the first place. They don't want any other Dark Lord competing with him. What the? I wonder what other powers Par's been hiding. Harry couldn't take any more. Clearing his throat loudly, he stepped out from behind the bookshelves. If he hadn't been feeling so angry, he would have found a sight like greeting his family. Every one of the Hufflepuffs looks as though they had been petrified by the sight of him, and the color was draining out of Aaron's face. Hello, said Harry. I'm looking for Justin Finch. Frankly, the Hufflepuffs' worst fears had clearly been confirmed. They all looked fearfully at Ernie. What do you want with him? Said Ernie in a quavering voice. Query. Also, it's like, what do you want him? What do you want with him? I want to tell him what really happened with that snake at the dueling club, said Harry. Ernie bit his white lips and then, taking a deep breath, said, We were all there. We saw what happened. Then you noticed that after I spoke to it, the snake backed off, said Harry. Oh, I saw, said Ernie stubbornly. Stop, always like. Stubbornly. Though he was chuckling as he spoke. Was you speaking personal tongue and chasing the snake toward Justin? I didn't chase it at him, Harry said, his voice shaking with anger. I didn't even touch him. It was a very near miss, said Ernie. And you case you're getting into ideas, he added hastily. I might tell you that you can trace my family back through 9 generations of witches. What the hell? And warlocks. What? And my brother's as pure as anyone, so I don't care what sort of blood you've got, said Harry fiercely. Why would I want to attack Muggleborns? I've heard you hate those Muggles you live with, said Ernie swiftly. It's not possible to live with Dursleys and not hate them, said Harry. I would like to see you try it. He turned on his heel and stormed out of the library, earning himself a reproving glare from Madam Prince, who was polishing the gilded over of a large spell book. Harry blundered up the corridor, barely noticing where he was going. He was in such a fury. Fury. Okay, wait. I need fury. Okay, fury, not furry. What the hell? Fury. The result was that he walked into something very large and solid, which knocked him backward onto the floor. Oh, hello, Hagrid, Harry said. Look up. Hagrid's face was entirely hidden by a woody, snow-covered ball. Ball what? Balaclava. Balaclava. But it couldn't possibly be anyone else, as he felt most of the kernel in his moleskin overcoat. A dead roaster was hanging from one of his massive gloved hands. All right, Harry, he said, putting up the balaclava so he could speak. Why aren't you in class? Cancelled, said Harry, getting up. What are you doing here? Harry held out the limp roaster. Second one killed this term, he explained. It's either foxes or a blood-sucking bugbear, and I need a headmaster's permission to put a charm around the hen coop. He peered more closely at Harry from under his thick, snow-flecked eyebrows. You sure you're alright? You look all hot and bothered. I don't know how British accent works. Harry couldn't bring himself to repeat what Ernie and the rest of the Hufflepuffs had been saying about him. It's nothing, he said. I better get going, Harry. Oh no, it's Harry. Harry, it's Transfiguration next, and I've got to pick up my books. He walked off, his mind still full of what Ernie had said about him. Justin's been waiting for something like this to happen ever since he let slip to Potter he was Muggle. Harry stamped up the stair and turned along another corridor, which was particularly dark. The torches had been oh my god, what? Extinguished by a strong icy draft that was blowing through the loose window pane. He was halfway down the passage when he tripped headlong over something lying on the floor. He turned us to squint. He turned to squint at what he'd fallen over and felt as though his stomach had dissolved. Justin Flenchley was lying on the floor, rigid. What the? Rigid and cold, a look of shock frozen on his face, his eyes staring blankly at the ceiling. And that wasn't all. Next to him was another figure, the strangest sight Harry had ever seen. It was nearly headless Nick, no longer pearly white and transparent, but black and smoky, floating immobile and Harrison, what? Immobile and Horizontal, 6 inches of floor. His head was half off, and his face wore an expression of shock identical to Justin's. Harry got to his feet, his breathing fast and shallow, his heart doing a kind of drum roll against his ribs. He looked wildly up and down a deserted corridor and saw a line of spiders scuttling as fast as they could away from the bodies. The only sounds were the muffled voice of teachers from the class on either side. He could run, and no one would ever know he had been there. But he couldn't just leave them lying there. Here, he had to get help. Would anyone believe he hadn't had anything to do with it? As he stood there, panicking, a door right next to him opened with a bang. Peeves the porter just came shooting out. Why? It's Potty Wee Potter! Cocktoed Peeves, knocking Harry's glasses askew. Askew, what? Askew as he bounced past him. What's Potter up to? Why is Potter lurking? Oh. Holy shit. Lurking. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Okay. Peeves stopped halfway through a mid-air somersault. Somersault. Upside down, he spotted Justin and nearly had his neck. He flipped the right way up, filled his lungs, and before Harry could stop him, screamed, Attack! Attack! Another attack! No mortal or ghost is safe! Run for your lives! Attack! Crash, crash, crash! Door after door flew open along the corridor, and people flooded out. For several long minutes, there was a sense of such confusion that Justin was in danger of being squashed, and people kept standing and nearly had his neck. Harry found himself pinned against the wall as the teacher shouted for quiet. Professor McGonagall came running, followed by her own class, one of whom still had black and white striped hair. She used her wand to set off a loud bang, which restored silence, and ordered everyone back into their classes. No sooner had the sense cleared somewhat when Ernie the Hufflepuff arrived, panting and sins. Cut him the egg, Ernie yelled, his face dark white, pointing his finger dramatically at Harry. That's well do, Macmillan, said Professor McGonagall sharply. Peeves was bombing overhead, now grinning wickedly, severing in the sense. Peeves always loved chaos. As the teachers bent over Justin and nearly had his neck, examining them, Peeves broke into song. Oh, bother you, rotter! Oh, what have you done? You're killing of students. You think it's good fun. That's enough, Peeves, barked Professor McGonagall, and Peeves zoomed away backwards with his tongue out at Harry. Justin was carried up to the hospital wing by Professor Flintwing and Professor Sinistra of the astronomy department, but nobody seemed to know what to do for nearly had his neck. In the end, Professor McGonagall conjured a large fan out of thin air, which she gave the Ernie Witch with instructions to whip nearly Hannah's neck up the stairs. The Ernie did, fanning his neck along like a silent black hovercraft. Liz left Harry and Professor McGonagall alone together. This way, Potter, she said. Professor, said Harry at once. I swear I didn't. This is out of my hands, Potter, said Professor McGonagall curtly. They marched in silence around a corner and stopped before a large and extremely ugly stone gargoyle, right? gargoyle. Lemon drop, she said. This was. Oh my god, this was. This was evidently a password, because the gargoyle sprang sudden to lift and hop aside as the wall behind him slipped in two. Even full of dread for what was coming, Harry couldn't fail to be amazed. Behind the wall was a spiral staircase that was moving smoothly upward, like an escalator. Escalator. As he and Professor McGonagall stepped onto it, Harry heard the wall thud close behind him. They rose upward in circles, higher and higher, until at last, slightly dizzy, Harry saw the gleaming oak door ahead with a brass knocker in the shape of Griffin. He knew now where he was being taken. This must be where Dumbledore lived. Oh my god, actually I really want to know what happened next, but it's already 20 minutes, so maybe next time? Yeah, maybe next time. I hope next time tomorrow, because I take too long to read next part, to read this part from last time, bruh.